up, baby? Spring training. It's here. Brooksy was out in Florida. How was it?
I'm always in Florida.
Let me start over. I've done that twice now. You know what? Let's just keep it going.
No, don't start that over. I was on the other coast of Florida. So I live in Boynton Beach, which is the East Coast. I'd hopped on Florida Turnpike, Sawgrass Highway, on Alligator Alley is what it's called. Shoots me over to the West Coast, to Naples, up to Fort Myers. Boom, right there at the Homewood Suites in Fort Myers, Florida.
And you hung out with Dustin Pedroia, who I saw was...
No, he flew in today. I got home yesterday. So we missed each other. I did one of the people that works there, a lady named Pam. She's been there forever. She's the GOAT, best ever. She's in like PR marketing business side of things over there. Dustin called her like the day before on Thursday and was like, there's no way I'm coming. Like, I'm not coming. Like, I don't want to come down there. I'm in Arizona. I'm running my kids' baseball team. Like, I don't have time. I can't do it. And I was like, tell him to bring his golf club so I could take all his money on the golf course. And I hear him yelling. It wasn't on speakerphone. All I hear is, I only play with good golfers. I was like, fuck you, Petey. He's just always so full of shit. But yeah, he's there today. Pretty cool. To have legends like that. Jim Rice walking around, Dwight Evans walking around, but Pedro will be down there. Yastrzemski will probably make an appearance. He lives in Florida, so he'll be there. There's Louis Tion. I mean, the list goes on and on of just like living legends for those guys. Maybe like Wade Boggs might float around. Who knows? But we were shooting. So pitchers and catchers were on Wednesday. We were there Monday through Friday shooting a preseason show. So basically just hanging out with the guys, getting interviews, like Kluber came on the show, Chris Martin came on the show, Chaim Bloom came on the show. It was a good time. And just getting back in the flow of things, kind of the icebreaker for the season.
We kind of teased this in our last episode of what we're going to be discussing on this episode, and that's sneaky teams.
Yeah.
I have a few teams, you have a few teams, and by sneaky, we're not talking about the team, we're not talking about the Guardians here. Like, they were in the postseason last year. If you don't respect
Not talking about the Mariners.
Not talking about the
They're
Mariners.
not sneaky anymore.
I don't even think we're going to really talk about the Orioles. I don't know your list, but I don't think...
You know what is sneaky is this tan I got when I was in Fort Myers. My goodness, I am glowing. Yeah. Sorry.
I was told that I am transparent, but then when I came back during the wintertime, and then when I came back from Cabo, I got a lot of good compliments. So
you look built like a jellyfish. Just straight see-through. All right. It's fine. You're jacked, though, so it's fine.
Sneaky teams. That's what we're talking about on today's episode. A lot going on in spring training, though. We already have a lot of injuries going on. Like, DeGrom's already sitting out.
We say injuries. They're not injuries.
But, well, you know who is injured? It's Frankie Montas.
Listen, spring training, think about your first week of camp in baseball. Your body feels like ass. Yeah. It's like I would train all off season. Train, bust my ass, like in best shape of my life, right? Every time I come to camp. But there's just nothing that prepares you for standing around in cleats and shagging and taking ground balls and like all that just accumulating, and just a lot of the standing around in cleats is like the worst of it, just standing around. You get so sore. Unless you do that all off season, which no one does, because you're like in the weight room, you're running, like training. You don't actually go through like a regular workout day for like camp. It wipes you out, man. It's so tiring. And I guarantee, like, for the Red Sox, Brian Bayo, like this young stud starting pitcher they have, is like training with Pedro in the offseason. All this, his stuff's like 97, 98 mile per hour super sinkers, like really good shit. I think he has like really good future. They shut him down for like 4 or 5 days because he had tightness in his forearm. You normally hear that in season and you're like, Tommy John, right? Oh shit. Not tightness in his forearm. You never want to hear that. But at this time of camp, you got to be aware of, all right, he just threw his second bullpen. A lot of your first bullpen is normally just fastballs or fastball changeup. His second bullpen was, guess what? Breaking balls. Mm-hmm. What is sore after you throw breaking balls for the first time? Your forearm, your elbow, right? You're sore. Like, I think it's just soreness. And at this point in the year, guys are just being cautious. Jacob deGrom, tightness is sore from long tossing and throwing. He's at that point in his throwing program where he's not fully ramped up, but he's getting there. And what comes with that is soreness. That is normal. And when you're making that much money and you're that important to a team, you're going to sit out and let that go away and then kind of ease back into it and make sure you don't do that again. That's all it is.
I kind of buried the lead. So take a step back here and just say, we promised somebody free MLB tickets. I asked our followers on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, I think, too.
Where do you get your tickets? Or are you just depending on me to get the tickets for you?
I just got the hookup. No big deal. When you work for this, sweet company that we work for, you get the hookup. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
In other words, I'll go on StubHub and check out prices and see what we get.
Sick. Fourth deck. Congrats.
You know what? No. Nice try. We did this last year, and we got somebody from Ohio, and he was a big-time Red Sox fan, and he got Guardians Red Sox tickets. He was out like right field bleachers, and it was a sweet game. He got a great game out.
Where was it? It was in Cleveland, right?
In Cleveland.
Yeah, that was sick. I like hooking the listeners up because it takes a lot of loyalty because we're not this massive pod. We're not one of these huge pods yet. We're grinding our way. We enjoy this, but we have a handful of people that are like every time we do this, they're listening. So, might as well hook them up here and there.
Last year we got so fortunate because it was a Cleveland guy that won, and I'm really hoping this year maybe it's Oakland, Tampa Bay. Affordable tickets is what I'm hoping for, people. That's all I'm asking. Don't give me a New Yorker. We'll do that.
Faster paced game. You can't charge. Like if the game's 4 hours, you charge a lot. If it's 2:45, you can't charge that much. You're not there as long.
You want to talk about that?
That's my theory.
You want to talk about that? We have a handful of headlines that we're going to roll through before we get to our sneaky teams. One of those is the ghost runner in extra innings. I hate that they call it ghost runner because it's not a ghost. It's
kind of zombie, right? Zombie runner.
Yeah, I like that. So it's the extra innings rule during the regular season, not the postseason. You have a runner that starts on second base for an extra inning game. They've been doing it for a couple of years now. That's permanent. You've seen pitchers already in spring training. They've been throwing.
Hold on. Go back. Do you like it? Do you like the ghost runner?
I love it.
Okay. Hear me. What about if I can't remember the numbers, but it was like 90% of extra inning games before they had this rule ended in the 10th or 11th inning. Mm-hmm. So like rarely would there be games that go past the 11th inning anyways. Obviously it's to prevent the 14 through 17 inning games that happen every once in a while. But what if you played regular baseball in the 10th and 11th, and then if it went past the 11th, then you go to the ghost runner?
So last year, I don't hate that idea. But it's not going to happen because now it's a permanent rule. Unless
no, that's just that's what I would do. That's just so you continue to just play regular baseball a little longer.
Last year, they were able to cut average time of game for 9-inning games down to 3 hours, 3 minutes. That was the lowest since 2018.
Yeah. And they're looking at 345 or 245 this year with the pitch clocks.
And you were in Boston, you were in Fort Myers watching the Boston pitchers, and I'm assuming they were using the pitch timer.
Yeah, in the bullpen.
In their bullpens. How did that go?
Fine. I mean, the Red Sox don't have many guys that work slow. They have one guy, and he happens to be the slowest in all of baseball. Kenley Jansen.
Oh, yeah.
Slowest in all the game, and he was just like, yeah, like game of adjustments, like I'll figure it out. Like he was super cool about it. That's just his personality anyways. He's just super laid back. But he didn't seem thrown off by it. But there are 2 clocks in the bullpen, one on each side for lefties and righties so they could see it. And guys, they were trying to throw around the same time so it would reset it every time because there was a guy running the clocks. In the buttons that they have as well, it's just like there's a 15-second, 20-second, and then a reset. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Three buttons. Something else. I thought it went smooth. I thought nobody really complained about it. We're not going to have complaints until the game start and guys start, getting the rules enforced on them. Something else that isn't being talked about a lot though. PitchCom. So obviously, PitchCom in the hat. There's something. So last year in spring training, they tried PitchCom. And they're like, it works, so we're going to carry it in. They ended up using it in the season. So this spring training, they're using pitchers have the option to have something with them with buttons, so they can call their own game.
Yeah, I saw Alex Bob using that system with the Giants.
Yeah, so there's some guys using that. I feel like that might slow things down.
Really?
A little bit.
Well, I mean, you have a timer, so you can only go as slow as
exactly. It's like if something's in your back pocket, you got to like take it out and do it and then put it back. Like that's an extra 5 seconds, 6 seconds right there. If you disagree, it's like, hey. Catcher's like, fuck you, B. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you argue? How do you shake? You just keep hitting the button you want and you're like yelling at each other. Fastball, slider. I don't know. I don't think that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty easy for a catcher to hit like fastball. Nope. Slider. Okay, go. Like, instead of you hitting buttons I don't know. It seems weird to me. Unless, you know how guys used to put like the sweatbands on like the wrist part of your glove, you can like undo it and put that on there.
Yeah.
What if they have something built in there so you can just be like boop?
The device that Cobb was using was in his back pocket. He wasn't pulling it out for each pitch. He was just tapping a button like on his butt area, basically. So maybe it's maybe you don't have to pull it out of your pocket each time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that would disguise it, but hide it so no one could see you pushing buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. There won't be many pitchers that actually do it because I think the PitchCom system they used last year, once they get all the kinks where they're like, sometimes they would go out and they wouldn't be paired up. Once they get all the kinks out there, I think that's a great system. I thought it worked. It saved a lot of time.
There's one thing for certain.
It cuts out the cheating stuff too. So
yeah, until some tech whiz taps into the devices and figures it out.
Yeah, no shit.
It's only a matter of time. There's one thing for certain. I do not want to be on Twitter when the enforcing is going on because all these baseball purists are ready.
It's going to happen. And they said during spring training, like they're going to be really hard on them about it. Like they're going to be over the top sensitive. But they got to get them ready. So this is going to be a much faster paced game. I don't know if you saw any AAA games last year, but I initially thought I wasn't going to like the pitch clock. I thought I wasn't going to like this hurry up. But really it faded into the distance after a while and guys got used to it. And the more people I talked to that were playing at AAA said, we like it. Even the pitchers were like, you know what? It's not that bad. You get used to it. Just like anything, like we're making these big deal about the huge new bases. That's going to fade into the distance before anything. Like that's going to go away so fast. And it's just going to be the bases. We're going to forget there were smaller bases. And you know what I mean? After this season, we're not even going to think about it. Yeah. Not even by the All-Star break, honestly. So
people were up in arms because it was a Texas player. College baseball started this weekend, for those that didn't see that. It was a Texas player. He tried, the
guy trying to call time.
That was a different player. But yes.
So that was horseshit.
Why? You're not allowed to call time. That's the rule.
The rule is you can't call time. So what if a freaking pterodactyl-sized mosquito flies in your eye?
Wear goggles. Adjust.
That's a terrible. You should be able to call time. No. You should at least be granted one
for each hitter.
They're not going to use it most of the time, but like if you legit need it, use it.
If I, as a pitcher, am not allowed to step off the mound, then a hitter shouldn't be able to call time.
You should still be able to step off the mound. You can step off the mound at least once. There's more than that. You can disengage at some point, can't you? You
can only throw over so many times before you have to.
Yeah, right. But you get your opportunity.
There's a limited amount of times you can step off the mound.
Right. I know there's a limited. Right. That's what I'm saying. But there should at least be a limited time for you to say, give me time. Give me 1 sec. Like you already have to be in there, engage with the pitcher at 8 seconds on the clock. Like you have no time to think or do anything. I know they're trying to take thinking out of the game because they want to hurry up the pace of the game, but it's still a thinking game, man.
I do know
there's a lot of moving things in front of you. Sometimes you just have to fucking step out of the box and take a breath and then you're good to go.
I do know,
you know what I mean?
You can stop the game hypothetically or in theory if you have something in your eye. Right now, by rule, it says you cannot stop the game just for the sake of stopping the game. In other words, you can't take a timeout.
Well, okay, what's the umpire? Time. Why? Okay, time.
No. Like you're going to have to fake it. You're going to have to act it out. You're going to say,
I'm going to go into a full body cramp to get
Yes.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I love that we're speeding up the game. I love that but that's too far.
Mm-hmm.
That's a disaster. The guy calls time 17 times and you just ignore him. The baseball gods knew ball 4.
It was Tennessee, by the way. That was
at home, and everyone's like, "What's going?"
Here's the problem. Here was the problem with the Tennessee one is that later in the game, after the Tennessee player was not granted a timeout, an Arizona player, like 2 innings later, asked for timeout. The umpire granted him timeout.
Woof.
If you're not going to grant time, you need to be consistent with it. That's all we ask. It's consistency.
It's new for the umpires too. Let's not forget.
That's a great point too. I know we're kind of getting on a tangent here. People don't.
These umpires have been umping for a long time.
There's a certain group of people that are not ready for the automatic ball strike system, automated strike zone. Well, guess what? Right now, you're asking umpires to look at a pitch timer. You're asking them to now wear buzzers because the buzzers are going to tell them, it'll alert them for when the pitch timer is
0.
expired. You're also asking, they're cracking down on box and deliveries this year. You're asking MLB umpires to do,
which I think that's a little stupid. Like, that's slowing the game down.
Mm-hmm.
We thinking about that? Like, or we really need to crack down on he didn't fully come set.
Yeah.
Let's stop the game for 2 minutes because of that.
You know why they're doing it, though. You know why they're doing it is because they're trying to encourage stolen bases, more action.
Well, right. They want movement. They, of course. And the biggest move they're going to do is the balk move by the pitchers where their front knee breaks before they pick over, which is the most important pickoff move of all time for every pitcher, because rarely ever does it get called because it happens so fast. But as a hitter, you see that front knee buckle, you know he's going home.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching either the back heel or you're watching his front knee. And if the front knee buckles and then he comes over, you're like, you're dead. You're dead. You're picked off.
Johnny Cueto does it the best in baseball, in my opinion.
Gross.
Let's move on. You heard Corbin Burnes' comments on the Brewers, right?
I absolutely actually love that he threw the team under the bus because they pissed him off bad enough for him to do that. He's their ace, man. And for them to tell him, like, you're the reason we didn't go to the playoffs. Like, what? He's your best arm.
He led the league in strikeouts.
The issue there is beyond the money, the figure that you're trying to figure out, because now you've pissed off your most important arm. Is he going to give you? Yes, he's going to come out and he did say, like, I still got to play baseball, so I got to do my job. I still got to, help my team win. It's not my teammates' fault. It's just the front office and them trying to win this ARB case. He understands it, but at the same time, you think he's going to re-sign there? You think he's going to take a team-friendly deal? No, they're going to have to break him off to keep him because he's going to say, F you, I'm out. I remember these things. People remember these things, man.
Devil's advocate. Milwaukee's not going to re-sign him regardless because they're not going to afford him. So they don't give a shit.
It doesn't matter. Like, the things he's done for that team, it's just respect.
Agreed.
Like, you can rip him down with stats and analytics and metrics all you want, because that's what they're for. In some cases, you can use them in either way you want to go, but you don't attack him personally like that and say you're the reason. And it's just false. Like, you're just clearly pulling shit out of your ass to try to win an ARB case, but at the cost of what?
Yeah.
Because if he goes out and has a 5.2 this year, they're gonna, in the back of their mind, they're gonna be like, was he kind of just like, fuck you guys? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think he will, because I think he's nasty. And I think just his ego and his pride and how much and how good he is, I don't think he'll go out and lay an egg this year, just in spite of them, because it's still the back of his baseball card that he's playing for. So I just think that's shitty when teams do that, man. I never had that experience. I had some things happen where, service time manipulation, stuff like that, but I was never good enough to go in there and argue for X amount of dollars.
Burnes is going to be a free agent before the 2025 season. So he has one more year.
Two seasons, yeah.
Yeah, two more seasons this year with the arbitration, one more year of arbitration.
Right.
And we already saw what Milwaukee did with Josh Hader at the deadline last year, a year and a half before he was going to hit free agency. So if Milwaukee's not in business come trade deadline time, expect Corbin Burnes to be on the trade market.
Totally.
And Milwaukee, what are we doing, man? All right, they were founded in 1969. Okay, what was that? 54 years ago. Before Corbin Burnes made his debut, they made the playoffs 4 times in 49 seasons. Since Burnes made his debut in 2018, they've made the playoffs 4 times.
4 times.
In 5 seasons. And then you go on and say that you were the reason we didn't make the playoffs, even though he led the league in starts. He led the league in strikeouts. He also was 7th in Cy Young voting. Stop it, Milwaukee. You're full of shit, man.
Beat it.
You already upset your clubhouse last year when you traded Hader. You missed the playoffs. You didn't acquire anyone when you were in first place in your division. Milwaukee's closer to being, like the Reds and the Oakland A's than they are being like the Cubs and these teams that actually try and compete.
What sucks too is Craig Counsell is such a good manager and such a good dude and so like a player's manager. Like they love him. I played for him when I was there. The coaching staff there is unbelievable, and I guarantee they're like, "Fuck, man! Like, what are you doing?" Because Counsell played forever. Like he knows how this works. To have this and I mean this with all due respect, just have some fucking dork in the front office or some ARB guy for the team go say that to your guy, like to your ace. Get out of here, man. Sorry. Next.
Manny Machado is going to opt out of his contract, so he says at the end of this year. The Padres have already discussed a possible extension with him. They don't want him to hit free agency. Manny basically said, they give me lots of money to hit baseballs, so I'm going to hit free agency once more. He's got $150 million left on his contract after this year if he opts in. But if he opts out, he's probably going to make between $200 and $300 million.
Didn't they offer him like $105 million more on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way he doesn't opt out is if he doesn't opt out if he gets hurt and misses significant time this year,
right? Where
it would hurt his free agency.
God forbid.
So, but I don't expect that. I mean, the names around him in that lineup, the pitching staff they have, the bullpen they have, the atmosphere they're gonna have at Petco this year, like they're the best team in the West.
So
it's like, yeah, I think so. Dodgers didn't do much, man. They had some holes to fill. They didn't do anything, which is weird because they're saving for Shohei, in my opinion. But I don't know, man. They might even try to get him at the deadline. Like, who knows?
Padres added Michael Wacha, and Cole Hamels to fold as well. So they just keep
Waka's contract is interesting too. Like it could be 1 year. It could also be like 4 years. Like there's a lot of options. There's a lot of incentive based things. I don't think it'll be 1 year. I think it ended up being 2 or 3. Hopefully it's 4. I love Mike, but I was bummed that he didn't come back to the Red Sox. I do think a lot of executives around the league are looking at Michael's numbers from last year saying it was an outlier year. His expected ERA was much higher, expected WOBA, like all his stuff was like much higher than his actual numbers, saying he got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a little bit just based off the exit velo and, BABIP. There you go. There's your BABIP. And did like those numbers tell you, yeah, like he had some luck, but I watched most of his starts, a lot of them in person, and he changed his repertoire. He pitched differently. He used different percentages of his pitches in different counts, and he was a different pitcher. So I think he made changes and actually did evolve and change, but executive, that's why I'm not a GM, like not up to me, but I think he was asking for 2-3 years, and I think most teams wanted him to take a 1-year deal, and he would have signed wherever he wanted, but whatever. Good for him. Maybe it'll work out.
I'm going to give you the platform to criticize the Yankees for, everything, hindsight's 2020, but the acquisition of Frankie Montas has not worked out for that squad.
I'm
lost 2 starters out of it because they sent away Jordan Montgomery to make room for Frankie Montas.
Right. I'm not criticizing them for that because I didn't dislike that move.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had shoulder issues last year, but they clearly thought it was something they could handle. And he pitched with it last year, and he pitched okay. He didn't pitch. He didn't pitch good, watching him throw, I wasn't like, oh, like he's missing a ton of velo. He's hurt. I just thought he was missing spots.
The real problem isn't like how he performed, or it's not even the fact that he has to have surgery. It's the fact that he showed up to spring training and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit.
Well, I think, okay, so
before the off season starts.
Listen, hear me out. there's no way he went into the offseason and didn't have this assessed after the season with the injury history, and obviously he missed time with it last year a good amount. So a lot of these situations, they'll do a PRP first,
which is
platelet rich plasma. It's an injection. They take blood, they put in a centrifuge, spin it, take the white blood cells, which encourage healing in an area, take the platelets, all that, put it into the injury area, and it's supposed to like speed up healing. So you do that. That takes like 4 to 6 weeks to see if it like really worked. If you can go a step further than that, let's say then they did stem cell. So they can drill into your bone marrow, pull out stem cells, spin it, separate it from blood, put the stem cells directly. I had this done. That's the only reason I know this. In your shoulder. That's another 6 to 8 weeks. We'll say 6 weeks before you know, all right, is that really speeding up the healing process? Is he feeling good? So they probably thought we can do these 2 treatments and get him in a good place to pitch next year and avoid surgery, which would have him, if we do it now, he's going to miss half the season at least.
For a guy that's going to be a free agent at year's end too.
Exactly. So it's like, let's try, because he is going to be a free agent after this. Let's try to do everything we can with these PRP, with the stem cell, whatever treatments they wanted to do, injections they wanted to do, to avoid surgery and have him pitch, even if it's just for the first half of the season. Then he blows out because it doesn't matter to us anymore. He's just a used piece of meat. That's just how it is. He's just a chess piece. Guaranteed that's what happened. And then he got to spring training after his throwing program and all that, and it didn't work, man. He needed to get cut and get worked on. So it's not that they just ignored it and were like, it'll be better. They tried things, guaranteed. It's the New York Yankees.
That's good info. That got open mind up to certain things. That's good stuff right there. Sneaky teams. Let's move on. You have a few teams that you think are going to potentially make some noise this year. It's not a guarantee. Teams that you like the future. You like what
I have 2 teams. I have 2 teams. 2 teams that
floor is yours.
Projection. I'll give you one, and I'll give you both of mine, and then you can go through yours, because I just have 2. First one is the Texas Rangers.
Before you continue, can I ask for your because we might differ a little bit on your definition of what sneaky means.
I just think they'll be better than people think they will be.
Okay. All right.
So like, I don't even know what the over-under for wins and losses is for the Rangers. What is that? Can you look that up quickly?
Yeah, I got you.
We can edit this dead time out.
According to I have it right here. You know, I got you. According to Fangraphs, their projected wins 81.2.
Damn. Okay. They think they're sneaky too.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they're right around 81, 82. Like, I think that's actually pretty close. But I thought it would be lower.
4th. They're projected to finish 4th too. So
right. Tough division for sure. With the Angels getting a little better too. But this is all about pitching for me. Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney, picked up Odorizzi, who will probably be a long guy in the bullpen, but you need that, especially the first month and a half of the season. They retained Martin Perez, who was an all-star last year, had a very good year. There's lots of questions around them, obviously, with health and some of these guys. Evaldi's been hurt a lot last year. Heaney kind of turned himself around when he was in LA with the Dodgers, found a new breaking ball that he's been working with. DeGrom's DeGrom. Like, he's the GOAT when he's healthy. Like, when he's healthy, he is arguably like has the best stuff I've ever seen when he's healthy. That's the thing. Now, offensively, they'll be better because I think Corey Seager was one of the top 3 hitters that got hurt by the shift the most. So I think his numbers look much better. Adolis Garcia, I think, is a really big candidate to be a 30-30 guy. I think he gets the bags for sure. I don't know if he hits 30 homers, but I think he is a guy who can do that. But I don't think the offense is going to be great, but like average at best. But with pitching like that, you only have to be average to win a lot of games. All right. So big ballpark too. So that pitching's going to play even better there. So this is all about pitching for them. Like you said, they're still picked to finish 4th in the division because the division is Houston and Seattle are going to run that thing. And I think it's going to be a fight for 3rd between the Angels and the Rangers.
The lineup's not bad, man. It really isn't.
It's not bad, but it's not good.
They just signed Robbie Grossman for depth too.
Yeah, he's gonna be like their 7th or 8th hole hitter probably. He's a switch hitter.
Fourth outfielder, yeah. He'll play it nearly every day, but
what do you get from Marcus Semien? Like, do something. Like, the little meme like poking with a stick. Like, hey, do something, man. Like, just do something.
You know who
like
I like is Josh Jung, their former first-round pick. He's going to be a stud, man, at the Hawk.
The catcher, was it Heim?
Jonah Heim could have been an all-star last year.
Right.
They're
sneaky. They're sneaky. Like that they are sneaky. Like team that you look at the roster and you're like, eh. But then like if they pitch and they can, you score 4 runs a game, like I think they could win a lot of games with that pitching staff if they're healthy. Now, you're gonna yell at me for this one. You're gonna call me a homer.
I know. I see where we're going.
I think the Red Sox are actually going to be better than people think they are. This is not because this is.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I also think
Boston. I really like the over-under was like 77.5 wins. The reason I think they will be over that, I think this team could win 85 games. If if they stay relatively healthy, like they could win like. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division. Like I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to be in a fight for a wild card spot though. I think Chris Sale finally has like a good, like solid season. He's not going to be like a Cy Young contender or anything, but I think makes at least 20 starts. I think he has like a 4.2, something like that, which isn't bad. Like a 4.5 ERA is 3 runs in 6 innings. Like think about that. You think someone gets like you give up 3 runs in 6 innings every time you go out, you have a 4.5 ERA. So 4.5 ERA sounds terrible until you put it in those terms, and you're like, it's not that bad actually. In today's game, it's not that bad. So it's Chris Sale, if his health is key. James Paxton, what's going on with him? They picked up Corey Kluber, who loves to eat innings. Nick Pivetta eats innings. These guys aren't going to have super low ERAs, but they're going to eat a lot of innings. They have legit 7 guys that can be starting pitchers for them. So I think that plays key in like April, May, because a lot of teams' bullpens get destroyed the first month and a half of the season because the starters aren't built up all the way. So starters are going like 4 innings, 5 innings on a good night the first month and a half because of pitch count. So the bullpens are having to eat 4 to 5 innings every night. I think we're going to see the Red Sox piggyback their starters. They have some younger guys like Cutter Crawford, this kid named his last name's Winkowski, Tanner Houck, guys like that can piggyback these the guys in the rotation, save the bullpen arms, and then turn it over to a bullpen who they picked up guys who actually have roles now. Kenley Jansen, who led the NL in saves last year. Chris Martin, who only walked 2.3% of the batters he faced last year, is a setup guy. John Schreiber, who is one of the best setup guys in the game last year. So their bullpen is a lot better. Their offense, I love the Masataka Yoshida is I'm never big on Japanese guys coming over in their first year because I feel like it never translates. But all his projections have him hitting like 305. Miss a 305. And I think that's mainly because he's not a power hitter. He can still hit you like 20. I think he's going to hit like 18, but he's going to hit 300, I think, because he's a big bats a ball skill contact guy. Yeah. I mean, I can go on and on about the Sox. They extended Devers, obviously. Justin Turner, they picked up the DH. Kike Hernandez is like the leader of the clubhouse now. I don't know, man.
So maybe I'm gonna get short, right?
He's gonna play. Short. He's gonna play short.
Okay.
Adam Duvall.
Justin Turner is likely going to be your DH.
Yeah, and he can fill in at first and third too to give those guys a breather. Young guy Tristan Casas playing first, but his at bats were really good last year. He just didn't get the results. He only played like 30 games, I think.
I got a fun one for you. So The Cincinnati Reds last year had the same amount of winning months as the Boston Red Sox last year.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm aware. Oh, well, hear me out too. The Red Sox lost a lot of games in division last year. Like they sucked in the AL East.
Oh yeah.
Now this is a completely different team. Like literally, there were 32 players that wore the Red Sox uniform last year that aren't with the organization this year. Like it's a lot of turnover. But let's say they still have kind of an issue within the division. Previous seasons, they play 76 in division games. This year, only 52. You only play each team 13 times instead of 19. So that helps.
50 last year, 26 and 50 against.
I know. So that helps. The AL East is loaded. Like the AL East is really good. So if you're playing that many less games against your division, I think that helps them as well.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I like Boston this year as well. I thought they were hitting the ball hard last year, and it was one of those years where just nothing went right.
Dude, they were hurt. No, they were hurt. Like at one point, 4 of their 5 starters were out, and 5 of their starting offensive players were out at the same time for like 2 months.
Chris Sale's injury was just a freak.
Chris Sale, Trevor Story, Bogarts missed time. Devers played on one hamstring for half the season. Like, I don't know. I'm optimistic, and I get crushed online about being optimistic. Like, but I like what I see. Like if you look at the individual signings in the offseason, it's underwhelming. It's boring. But like the collective group, I like. Mm-hmm. I think there's a good vibe on the team. I think they're all going to like mesh well. I think Kike and Kinley and Justin are going to be leaders of that clubhouse. There's more 2018 Dodgers on this team than there's 2018 Red Sox.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's 4, counting Verdugo.
That's interesting. That's a good stat.
And I think, let's see, what's left for the Sox? Devers, Sale. Who am I missing? I feel like there's one more. Devers, Sale. This is going to drive me crazy.
Is Arroyo on the team? Not yet.
Not in 18. Oh, this is driving me nuts. Devers and Sale. It's got to be a pitcher. Brazier. Yeah. Brazier was there. Yeah. And then there's Kinley, JT, Kike, and Verdugo.
Interesting.
They were on that. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Dodgers of the East. No, I like it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. It's one of those like I could see him win 87 games, and I could also see him win 60 games. Like if they're healthy, they're going to be very competitive. They're like a grinder sneaky team. Like that's what they are.
Allow me to shift things over to the West Coast because that's what I do over here.
Shocking.
But I'm actually going to go with the team from Arizona, the only team from Arizona. Say the Arizona Diamondbacks are this year. After the All-Star break last year, they were 34-36, 2 games under 500. On September 6th, less than 1 month to go, they were 4 games under 500, streaking. All of a sudden, they were about 7 games back in the wild card, which is a bit distant. Don't get me wrong. That's not an easy climb. But all of a sudden, people were thinking, what if the Diamondbacks make a run here? They brought up guys like Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll, if you look at the fastest sprint runners last year in feet per second, he was the fastest sprinter in all of baseball last year. He can also park 20-plus homers despite his small stature. In that ballpark, he's an easy 20-20, 20-40 type guy. He's got that type of athleticism. He was one of the best gloves in all of baseball in the last 2 months of the season last year. And kick it over to the rotation. Zach Gallen was a Cy Young candidate, should have been a Cy Young finalist last year. He was not. I believe he finished 4th in Cy Young voting last year.
I like Torey Lovello too, man. I feel like he was our bench coach in 2013 in Boston.
I had their depth chart and I just lost it. There we go. Corbin Carroll's going to lead off. After that, Ketel Marte. This is according to Fangraphs projections. Christian Walker hit 34 taters last year. They acquired Lourdes Gurriel from the Blue Jays, which is a really nice pickup for them. And then Alec Thomas is another guy that fleet-footed, fantastic defensively. He's going to man center field for him. Another young stud. And then, like I said, you have Zach Gallen that's going to be at the top of that rotation. Merrill Kelly had a really strong season last year. Who knows what you're going to get out of Bumgarner, Zach Davies. I really have a concern with the back end of that rotation, but they were also able to add to their bullpen, bringing back Andrew Chafin. I like the D-backs this year, man. It's a really tough division. Padres, Dodgers, Giants. It's going to be really tough. But last year, they were able to make some noise in the second half. They were right there, at least close to it. I think the D-backs D-backs are going to surprise some people with Corbin Carroll, especially. He's going to be leading that charge, man. I think they're a sneaky team.
At third at best, right? In that division?
In that division?
At best.
Yeah. But I see that team halfway through the year. We're approaching the deadline, and they're maybe a few games out of the wild card, and we kind of see what happens, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be – I just don't know what, like, their next, like, 2 to 3 years look like with that roster. That's the only reason I'm like, do they really go in at the deadline? And if the next couple of years are still kind of the same as this year,
I can see him be very similar to what the Orioles were last year. You know, kind of come out of
Orioles. That's a team that let me down this offseason.
Yeah.
As a Red Sox guy, I don't hate it. Like they have a ton of young talent. I get that, but at the same time, like it's kind of go time. Like you're entering your window. In my opinion, like very early in the window. I thought they were a year ahead of time. I'm getting off the rails right now. We're talking about your teams, but you just sparked that thought. Go ahead. I agree with the Diamondbacks. I think they'll be sneaky. They'll be much better than people think.
I got the Marlins on my list here.
Jesus.
And it's another squad that is in just a really, really tough division. National League East with the Braves, the Mets, Phillies. Good luck.
Things, like I said earlier, the wild card races are going to be kind of nuts this year because the divisional play has decreased so much. There's going to be a lot of teams not getting beat up on by the division as much.
Mm-hmm. I just love that rotation.
24 games they're not playing, 24 less. So they have a chance if they can pitch.
This is a team with arguably I say this not lightly, arguably the best rotation in the National League East. With Sandy Alcantara as your reigning Cy Young, Jesus Luzardo, if he can be the Jesus Luzardo former top prospect, he showed signs of promise last year. Edward Cabrera, Trevor Rogers, they got rid of Pablo Lopez to Minnesota.
You think that's better than the Mets?
Here's the thing with the Mets. The Mets are playing for a World Series. I'm talking about regular season right now. So
no. You said their rotation's the best in the NL East.
When healthy, the Mets have the best rotation.
Now do the Phillies. How's the Phillies?
Zach, they're very top heavy.
Who are the guys at the back end of the Marlins?
You have your choice of Edward Cabrera, who was fantastic last year. Trevor Rogers was fantastic 2 years ago before he got injured. And then you're going to have their top pitching prospect and Max Meyer potentially available. Apparently, Sixto Sanchez is alive.
He lost a lot of weight, too.
He lost like 30 pounds. And then you have the reigning Cy Young at the top of the rotation. You added Johnny Cueto.
All right, cool. Now do the Atlanta Braves. Because all three of those are better than theirs.
God, it's a tough division. God damn.
I'm not poo-pooing this because I do think they'll be better than people think.
No.
But Atlanta Braves.
You're right.
Atlanta Braves rotation is
You're right.
Like, really, like what Kyle Wright was able to do last year.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Anderson's kind of had a tough year, but like Soroka's back. I don't know, man.
I think if these guys,
that's got to be the most competitive division in baseball, in my opinion.
I think if these guys play to the top of their potential and stay healthy, I think the Marlins can be as good as anybody in the National League East. Can I say that? That's fair. Not better, but they had the potential to be just as good as the National League East, other teams in the National League East. That starting rotation.
I'll go with that.
You don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And I respect your opinion. There's some fucking juggernauts in that division, dude.
Let me add one more note on Miami and we can move on. With no shifts, the new rule, there's not going to be allowed to shift. There's a potential for power numbers to decline a little bit. Maybe see some players depend on their contact a little bit more than their power because there's going to be more spots on the field to hit the ball.
And they're facing all those nasty ass pitchers that I just named.
That too. Miami has limited power, especially in that ballpark. They haven't had a real, dominant home run hitter since Giancarlo was traded away 5 years ago.
The ball didn't necessarily fly there either.
No. Jazz Chisholm was on pace to be their top home run guy last year before he got injured. Garrett Cooper, he had power in the first half. He all of a sudden declined in the second half. You look at their lineup this year, they went and acquired Luis Arias, who led the league. He won the batting title in the American League last year. Then after that, they Signed Gene Segura, another high contact guy. Jazz Chisholm is expected to be in the 3-hole. He's not your prototypical power hitter, 3-hole hitter, but
he's more of a leadoff guy.
He's 25, 25, 30, 30 potential for sure.
Yep, for sure. And the cover of MLB The Show.
Their power guys are going to be Jorge Soler, Avisail Garcia. We'll see how those guys perform.
Just a lot of swing and miss with those guys. And those guys are not going to be like, let me let off the gas and take my single. Like, that's not who they are.
But I think this team can be really scrappy, the top of that lineup. And if those guys on the back part of that lineup, guys like Soler, Garcia, can drive those scrappy hitters in, all of a sudden you're making some noise. And like I said, I really like that rotation. I really like Miami.
I think the only thing good about Miami is the no state income tax. That's about it. To make a quick point, is everyone thinks there's going to be this explosion of offense now because of no shift. The pitchers are still nasty. Like, that didn't change. Now, could the pitch clock maybe gas them, maybe tire them out a little faster? Maybe, but I think I don't know. It's going to be better baseball. I don't think we see an explosion of offense. I think we see a more fun game. I think we see more fun diving plays and double plays and stolen bases and more action. But I don't think all of a sudden, like, everyone's going to hit 250, 260, 270 anymore. Like, you're not going to have a ton more 300 hitters, in my opinion. Pitching's still really good.
I like the vibes, too, of Skip Schumacher.
He's awesome. Yeah,
more of just a younger energy.
Yeah,
I like.
No, for sure.
I like that.
We'll see if he still has that energy when they're getting their ass beat.
And then one more team. I don't have to talk much about them. We know their potential, and they're frankly not sneaky. They just have underperformed for years, and that's the Los Angeles Angels.
For sure.
Just give me Trout and Shohei in the playoffs, and
one time, dude, before he's gone, because he's leaving.
There's this group of people on social media, and the Angels, they're typically Angels fans, and they think the media hate them because we pick on the Angels. Guys, do you realize how much more money we in the media business would make if Trout and Shohei and Anthony Rendon and
you want those guys in the postseason?
Like from a social media perspective, over here at CBS Sports, we actually post about the Angels. We don't post about the Giants. We don't post about the Mariners very often.
Yeah, because you have two of the best players on the planet.
So if all of a sudden these guys are in the playoffs, which I really hope they can or will and can be, it's great for the media. We're not picking on you. We're just disappointed each and every year because they're not able to get over that hump. So you got the two best players in baseball in Trout and Shohei.
And they're rotting. Right. They're just rotting there. It sucks, man.
And Shohei, by the way, contract year. So if he's capable of doing anything more than we've seen in the last 2 years, I mean, who knows?
He doesn't have to play this year and he's going to get paid.
He's already.
What's their rotation?
Patrick Sandoval. Shohei is going to start on opening day.
Of course.
Sandoval had a really strong year last year.
He did. I just don't see him as a top of the line. Like
Shohei, Tyler Anderson. Forgot they brought him over from the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Patrick Sandoval, Jose Suarez, Reed Detmers. That's your rotation. So if Shohei has to miss time, it's slim after that.
Yeah, but he only pitches once every 5 days.
Yeah, and they had Tucker Davidson in here too.
Dude, why? Oh, man, why can they not get pitching? I don't understand, man.
They brought over Syndergaard last year, and he was pretty strong at first, but
and
dropped off.
I think they rebuilt their bullpen too.
Remember, the Angels through the first month and a half of the season had the third best record in all of baseball.
Yeah, I know. Matters.
We'll see where they're at. I have some quick questions for you before we get to our ticket giveaway. Yeah, man. Right. Let's have some fun on this podcast. You know, you've been stressed at work.
I'm not stressed. I have the best job in the world.
You got kids. You got, all this. You have such a tough job talking baseball every day. I mean, I can't imagine what you go through. You have a great family, beautiful wife, beautiful children, and I just can't imagine the problems that you face every day. So I'm here to just de-stress you a little bit. All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
I'm gonna be a good friend. What's your favorite spring training memory?
Dang. Okay, so you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, so I got called up and had my first big league spring training in 2012. Didn't make the team, which I wasn't expected to. I was expected to start in AAA. I was still like a prospect. And I got called up in May. So then the next year, I knew I was going to be on the team, but still getting like called into the office at the end of spring training and telling me like you made the team. So I knew I was going to have my first opening day, and it was at Yankee Stadium. It's pretty cool. Just that's always something I remember. What else? I don't know. We did like a lot of fun stuff. Like we did like a burger cook-off one time. That was fun.
Who won?
Me and Napoli were teammates, and we won. It was bomb. That was 2013. That was like the team bonding of that spring that like got us all close. That's when we started growing out our playoff beards in March. Yep. 20. This is long-winded. Sorry, I'm just thinking through this. 2015 with the Padres, we had a rib cook-off. Buddy Black was our manager, and he heard me and Jay up, and Matt Kemp and someone else was talking about how good we could barbecue and like smoke stuff. He's like, let's do a cook-off. And we're like, all right. So we like smoked ribs. I think Jay up won. I got second. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, next. Sorry, I'm rambling.
What's something that happens at spring training that nobody knows about?
What's something that happens that no one knows about? That's tough. Like I really am trying to think of something good.
Is there
that's a good question. I'm just like
a team building event that maybe goes on, or
I mean, there's always like little events and stuff that you go to, but it's not like notable.
Big party. Big Poppy invite everybody over to his Airbnb.
No, I mean there's like not really. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you're gonna have to kill all this.
Yeah, you're good. Take your time.
Like, what's something no one knows about? I'm just like, I don't know if there's anything no one knows about.
Is there any betting on who's gonna win a position? Like, no. Is there,
what do you mean betting?
Like, I'll bet you $100 Brooksy wins the third base job this year.
No, it's not like that. So I mean that's a boring answer, but no.
Yeah.
The best part of spring training, in my opinion, is like it's really early. You always get there super. Like I was an early guy, and the big league side of things, like you go in and they'll like make you anything for breakfast.
That's a great segue. My next question I have is, what's the best food you've ever had in spring training?
The Red Sox are like number one, first class, like food, everything. Like whether it was nutritionists building plans for people, like you literally, there's like omelet stations and pancakes and like literally anything you want. You just go in and ask and they build it for you. That was pro. So I don't remember like an individual like certain meal, but it's like literally like the Red Sox were just pro. You go in and make anything you wanted.
Are we getting to the real reason why Pablo Sandoval did not work out in Boston?
He was fat before he got there.
No pun intended with that workout term, by the way.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, which was best food was just the whatever you want with the cook.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking. This is a long time ago, man.
I know.
I feel like I'm not giving you good answers on this.
The Mission in Scottsdale is phenomenal.
Oh, I thought you meant like at the stadium.
I was just tossing it in there,
Yeah, the Mission's very good. Super overpriced.
Yeah, but they make it.
There's a breakfast spot I used to go to in spring training in Scottsdale when I went out there. It was called. So everyone goes to a place called the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I've been there too.
I think it's so overrated. It's just chicks walking around in yoga pants, like whatever. There is a place called, oh my God, what is the name of it? Hold on, I got it. Fuck. I want to go ask Jenny.
Go do it.
No. I'm just going to look it up. I don't feel like getting up. There's a place by my house. It was a place by There's a place called Butters.
Hmm.
It was like really good, but there's a place by my house called Soul Cafe. That's what it was called. Soul Cafe. And I'm talking like massive. They had these big lemon ricotta pancakes.
Hmm.
Probably my favorite spot. I would stop. Like they opened super early, so I could stop and like grab one to go and take it to the field with me. That was kind of my go-to on the way. Yeah, like 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Last one I have. Airbnb or hotel?
I was always I always rented a place for like I would normally go February 1st, so I would rent it for 2 months.
Would you stay by yourself or would you have a roommate?
I had a roommate a lot, but once I was like in a serious relationship with somebody, I got it by myself.
Okay. Who were you roommates with at first?
Carson Blair, a guy who was my best man in my wedding. He actually played for Oakland a little bit. He plays drag racing outside my house right now. I live in a cul-de-sac, so that's scary.
Is Jenny just taking a kid?
It actually kind of sounded like my truck. That's why I was like, what the hell? He's out. Yeah. She's out. Her dad's actually here right now. He's staying with us right now. Oh, nice. Yeah. I didn't have any good dude. I'm losing it. I gotta remember. You put me on a spot about stuff that I haven't thought about in like at least 6 or 7 years.
You're old. Let's do the giveaway. You want to stay on for the giveaway, or do you want to skid out?
I'll stay on. I'm here. Right. After that debacle of questions.
Yeah. I'm out here trying to get content for you great people, and Brooksy's just not delivering.
I'm tired.
Real disappointing, man.
I know. I kind of want you to like cut that whole segment off. That was terrible.
Yeah. You're just not the most exciting person in the world.
That's fair.
All right, let's see how many people we asked our oh my gosh, we got our first non-5-star rating. Thanks a lot, Dad's Dingers. Gosh, dang it.
What'd they say?
Solid listening while doing the dishes. Good baseball show. Nice mix of opinions, player knowledge, and stats without gimmicks. Not necessarily clean, but good for dad background noise.
Oh, okay. So we got 4 stars that say fuck a lot.
We got to clean things up on the language. That's what he's saying. That was the first non-5-star rating we've ever gotten. And I'm
because of our profanity.
Because of our profanity.
I'm not sure that's worth taking a star away.
Yeah.
Because everything else was like, great. I love it. This is awesome. I love listening to this.
To be considered for the MLB ticket giveaway, you had to leave a review on our Apple Podcast page.
No, I want to give it to the dipshit that gave us 4 stars. He wins.
We'll see. I swear, if this guy wins the giveaway, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Who is it? Dad bod? What?
Dad's Dingers. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we got 12 reviews. I'm going to do a number generator.
Hey, Dad's Dingers, this is for you. Shit, cock, balls, ass.
Whatever number pops up, I'm going to count from the first review. So I'm doing 1 through 12, generate a number. And we got 8. First one we got is 8. Let's see. So 1. I'm counting from the most recent, by the way. So 1, 2, 3. It's not the best review, but H Clark 824 is our winner. All he had
is this like good listen.
Great podcast, my go-to. So hey, it's positive. It's a 5-star review.
Man, a few words.
Congratulations, H Clark 824. You've won 2 tickets to go see your favorite team play. So
I'm curious if these people actually listen or they just wrote a review so they could get a chance to win.
Doesn't matter.
It kind of does.
If you want a confidence booster, go read the reviews, because except for one, I tagged you in the Twitter post already. This one kind of
wasn't bad though. That wasn't bad.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't bad. Whoa, you just turned and the light hit that mustache. You have a mustache?
No. I wish. It's probably just not connecting right now.
It looks like Reno 911.
All right. So this was Old Man River. That's his name on Apple. He said, you can't go wrong hearing about the game, blah, blah, blah. Will has a unique insight playing on a World Series champion team. Anytime Will talks, we should listen. And Danny isn't bad either.
That's a compliment.
It is. But
I've yet to figure out. I mean, this could just be you being Cali sensitive and like,
yeah,
like, because that's not negative. He was like, oh, by the way, like Danny's good too. He was just making a point about the player side of things, and then he didn't leave you out. Would you rather he just not said anything at all about you there?
Maybe.
He said you're not bad either.
Not
it wasn't like, but Danny sucks.
No, true. I would have rather had this than that. That's fair. Yes.
He didn't. That wasn't negative. It just wasn't. It was like he just threw you on there so you didn't feel bad.
Yeah, it's very like backhanded. Oh, by the way,
it wasn't backhanded. It just wasn't handed.
I'm being sensitive. We have more hats available too, people. We'll be hitting up H Clark 824. Congrats on your
and Dad's Dinger. Have a great fucking day.
Yeah. Have a great day. Thanks for enjoying the podcast. Not necessarily.
We're dirty.
Oh, man. All right. Have a great day, people. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next time. Peace out.